Welcome to the Butts in the Seats podcast, episode number 40.
Woo! We made it to another 10 episode mile marker. Do you know what that means?
It's time for another shot.
It's time for another shot!
Emily once again has no idea what I made. I did not try to punish her on this.
It's cream based. I can see that. I'm assuming there's Bailey's in it because my parents gave us a big bottle of Bailey's.
There's not Bailey's.
Really?
No Bailey's.
Oh.
If you sniff it, I think it gives it away.
Oh.
All right.
Oh, this will be yummy. Cheers to 40. We're over the hill. Ooh, that's a good one. Nick made a cinnamon toast shot.
And cheers to sirens in the background.
Yeah, once again, we live in a city. I'm sorry. We're working on it. In the next few months, we'll be moving to a much quieter area.
Yeah.
So that'll be nice. But yeah, that was good.
So today we'll be talking about the July 5th, 1999 Monday Nitro, the go-home show for Bash at the Beach. So we teased it a little bit last episode. So we developed a little game.
I developed a little game.
Well, I think we developed it together, but you actually picked out the songs.
Yes.
So Emily has devised a list of 10 WCW themes, and I have to listen to them and guess the wrestler.
I don't think that he's going to get them all. So I came up with a playlist of about 10 WCW wrestlers' themes, and Nick has to listen to the themes and guess who it belongs to. I don't think he's going to get all of them. I picked some pretty obscure ones, or I picked some ones that I don't think that he's going to remember or have been in like other factions, so I think I've got a pretty good shot at like duping him on this one.
Okay. Okay, so this is an easy one to start with. This is Ernest the Cat Miller.
Starting you off easy.
This is the crap version. How did you even find the crap version?
Why do you think it took me so long to put together this playlist?
Yeah, we did have to delay the start of the podcast about 30 minutes, maybe longer.
But yes, this is the version that's on the network.
All right, so 1 for 1.
1 for 1.
All right. Oh shit. See, the beginning sounded like either Vampiro or It's a Holdover. I'm gonna go This Is Canyon.
Oh, shit. Okay, yes.
Yeah, I figured that the beginning bit was a holdover from Mortis.
Yes.
All right, 2 for 2.
Damn it. Okay, there's some in here that you're not gonna get.
All right, hold on, I gotta get out of. There we go. I didn't see it, but I just noticed I actually just noticed like the bottom had the spoilers. This is Ray. Yeah, it's Rey Mysterio.
Look at the phone.
It's Conan. I swear Ray comes out to this at one point.
They come out together!
So, do I get half points?
No, because this is billed as Conan's theme.
So, how many? Yeah, hold on. This is Conan's 9th theme.
This is the issue, man.
Spanglish version.
I can't believe you didn't get Conan's theme.
See, now I need to look. I now want to look up Rey Mysterio's theme. Like, what is Rey's theme?
Oh my god.
All right. Oh, this is Sting.
Yes.
Which I know because I don't like this theme. Because he eventually comes out to like a Metallica knockoff. All right, so 3 for 4.
Yeah.
And even then, I think I'm 3.5 for 4.
No.
Right.
This is one I don't think you're gonna get.
Oh. I'm gonna like randomly guess like Dean Malenko.
No.
Alright, who is it? It is Chavo Guerrero.
This is Chavo's WCW theme, and I had to verify this like 4 different ways. This is before, ooh, Chavo.
Alright. Well, he doesn't get that in WCW at all.
I
don't
know,
think.
but that's just what we know him with.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. I feel like you should do this.
Is this Van Hammer?
Yes.
Okay.
Good job.
How am I doing?
You've gotten 4 out of 6.
Okay. Wait.
Is it the same fucking song?
Wait, this is Rey Mysterio.
Is it the same
It's the same song.
Because I knew I had both of them on it. I verified it with both of them as singles.
Yeah, this
Is it
is.
the same theme?
Hold on, we gotta go back.
Wait,
to...
no, because I verified it with them
Hold
as singles. I knew it was similar.
Yeah, it's the
Same
thing.
fucking song.
Okay, so I think.
Okay. Fuck.
Yeah, I think I get credit for that one then.
I hate them.
All right.
Alright, well.
Oh, it's Kidman. I had to wait for that like drum beat to come in.
Just let it groove in.
All right. Moving on.
What are you looking at? Life's a drag.
Oh, yeah, they gave it away. I did think it was Perry Saturn before he said "Life's a Drag."
Yeah.
My gut was Perry Saturn.
It is Perry Saturn.
Yeah, I want to say it's a weird thing with him ongoing, just having sirens at the start of
Yeah.
it. Him and Scott Steiner just both go with that.
Yeah. So, full disclosure, I was trying to get Scott Steiner on this list. He does not come out to a theme that is not the Wolfpack or NWO in any of our viewing history.
Yeah.
I really thought he had before he came out as like part of NWO. I guess there was never a pre-NWO for him. I thought there was.
I mean,
There was a pre-Wolfpack.
yeah, there's pre-NWO in terms of like the Steiner brothers had the theme, but
Yeah.
we didn't hear that. All right. Oh, this is someone low down the card, isn't it?
No cheating.
Norman Smiley, I'm gonna guess.
Fuck you!
No, it's not.
Oh wait, that's not. This isn't Norman Smiley.
No, this is Bobby Duncombe.
Ah shit.
Oh, well,
They're
okay.
similar.
No, that means Norman Smiley's also on your list. So you
Ah
just
shit! I
spoiled
just
it.
gave it away.
Is this Norman Smiley?
I don't know anymore. Probably.
Yes.
They're similar, right? They've got like a similar rock vibe. Damn it! You're doing better at this than I thought you would.
Okay, and how many do I have left?
2.
2. Okay. Oh, this is who?
Yeah. I threw a couple like gimmies in there.
All right, and the last one. Oh, this sounds vaguely familiar. I don't even know who to guess at this point. I'm guessing this is a 98 one.
I don't remember.
I'm gonna double down. I'm gonna go Dean Malenko.
You're wrong.
Psychosis.
Yeah!
Okay. And that's it.
That's it. Okay, you only got 2 wrong. I really thought that you would do worse.
So I missed Bobby Duncombe and I missed Psychosis. No, and
And
Chavo.
you missed Chavo. Oh, you
So I
missed
got
3.
3.
Okay, you
Yeah.
missed 3.
So I went 3 for 13. I thought you only had 10.
Okay, I guess I had 13. Whatever. I put some extras in there just to see.
Okay. So I don't.
I don't really know what this proves.
I don't know.
It's been 40 episodes. There's been a lot of unmemorable themes. But
70,
apparently
70%
more
of them.
memorable.
Yeah.
More memorable than we thought.
To be fair, a couple of them were just guesses where I'm like, is this Canyon? I don't even remember hearing Canyon's theme at any point, but I guess we did.
We did because I remember making the note that this sounds spooky.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to do it.
All right. So eventually we'll have to do some sort of version with this and Emily.
I don't think I'm going to be as good at this as you were. Because you have like a weird brain for like memory. Nick's brain is an encyclopedia for very specific things. If you ask him certain teams' baseball histories, certain Super Bowl histories, and anything that has to do with WWE from the years 2011, 2012, 2013 to 1991, I think he would know the answer to everything.
So, Emily, I have one round of this for you before we get into the episode.
God.
All right, who's coming down to the ring?
For life.
All right, Emily, who is it?
I don't know. It's somebody in the goddamn NWO.
All right, who's coming? Come on, who is it?
I don't know.
Take a guess.
Bobby Duncan Jr. No.
He was never in the NWO. Of all the people to guess.
Vincent.
Sorry, looking for Scott Norton.
Brian Adams. I'm going to remember him forever now because I forgot him so many times.
No, you won't.
I remember his name, but I don't know what his face looked
Yeah,
like. I remember his name.
Will you?
Yeah, I'll remember his name. I cannot say that I'll remember Bobby Duncan Jr.'s name forever because I also forgot his name a lot. And I will never know what any of these men look like. It will never stick in my brain. Anyway, should we get into the episode?
Were we inadvertently stalling because this was a very bad episode of Nitro?
Okay, so we had different takes on this episode. Nick wanted to die the whole time.
Most of the time.
I didn't hate it.
I started losing my mind while watching it, where like I said I need to take a break, and then I just powered through, and I just...
Yeah, there was a point where Nick was like, I need to be done after this match. I need to go take a break or watch it tomorrow. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to keep watching. I think my standards are so low when it comes to this show. Like, I'm going to quote Spider-Man, expect disappointment, never be disappointed.
I also worked a long day yesterday,
Well, yes.
and I was just like, this is what I'm coming home to? What am I doing with my life?
You have a podcast about a failed 1990s wrestling company. What are you doing with your life?
So Nitro this week is live from the Georgia Dome in Atlanta, Georgia, home of the... I don't know if it's bottom 2. It's definitely bottom 5 WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely down there. It's the one that's main evented by The Miz and John Cena. And so apparently they had the stadium set up to hold 44,000 fans. They got about 19,000 paid, which was very obvious from some of the opening shots.
Yeah, so when this episode started, we were like, wow, the Georgia Dome actually looks pretty full. You even like vocalized, you're like, huh, that's impressive. And then they panned the camera.
Yeah, they showed too much.
They really did. They exposed the business.
I know we keep finding things. Before we get into this, a couple things to note because we've been slacking on our ratings lately.
That's a you thing, man.
So last week, Raw did a 6.8 to Nitro's 3.6. This week, Raw did a 6.2 to Nitro's...
I'm going to guess it went down. I'm going to say 3.4.
3.3.
Oh, wow.
However, last week on Raw was extremely notable for having the highest rated segment in the history of professional wrestling.
Is this the This Is Your Life episode?
No. WWE lies when they say that. However, I guess there's an argument to be made because technically this is like the overrun portion, so it only partially counts. It's like there wasn't even a head-to-head thing going against it. So it was Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Undertaker for the WWF title. What do you think the number is? Just for that segment on its own.
I'm going to guess that's like an 8 point something.
The whole show did a 6.8. That segment did a 9.5.
Yow.
Again, Nitro did a 3.6.
Do you have the numbers for what Nitro's highest rated segment tonight was?
No.
I think that'd be interesting to like see what the highest rated segment was.
I don't know how well all that's kept. I think people just remember that one because
it's so out there.
Yeah.
That's Nitro's theme, remember?
Yeah, it's out there.
It's out there.
And speaking of out there, as in out of there, Chris Jericho has recently signed a 3-year deal with WWF.
Good for him. Only 3 years though, that's all.
Well, I mean,
I know.
yeah, he'll finish up some house shows, but he is he is out.
Good for him.
I forget when he shows up. It's either August or September
Oh
of
my God.
99.
So the last time that we saw him on WCW television, he was wearing the shortest shorts in all of the land, and it was right before the dogs.
Yes, we talked about this.
It's like official now. Now that he is officially gone, we can say with absolute impunity.
No, he's still under WCW contract. You never know.
We keep shooting ourselves in the foot when we say this is the last time we're going to see someone.
Well, additionally, I realized this upon double checking a couple of notes I have just generally about the podcast. We have seen someone's last match like a month and a half ago that we'll see again in segments in a couple of months, but we are done seeing Raven wrestling on the podcast.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
He does not wrestle another match for WCW.
Oh. That's kind of a bummer. I keep thinking that he's about to make his return.
Yeah, he'll pop up in like a group or like a stable of some
Oh.
sort in a couple months, and then there'll be a meeting about like if you're not happy, there's the door. And he just
And he
walks,
gets up.
he
Oh.
walks out.
I always have so much respect for people that do that because I've had so many opportunities to be that person to leave, like with jobs or with groups. It's like if you don't want to be here, you don't have to be. And I want to be that person, be like, okay, bye, but I can't. So I respect that. But I'm kind of bummed.
Yeah.
Oh. Do you know why?
He just wasn't happy with his booking and general politics of WCW,
I
so
mean, that's fair.
he goes back to ECW.
Good for him. I mean, sad for him, but good for him. Wait, does that mean that we're going to see him on an ECW bonus episode?
I would assume so. Yes. I don't know when he turns up there, contract status, all that jazz,
Yeah.
but yeah, we should definitely. I know we'll definitely see him again at least at WrestleMania 17, but I assume we'll see him before then in ECW.
Yes. Is 17 post-invasion?
No, it's right before that's where Shane buys WCW.
Ah, yes.
So the actual episode of Nitro.
Yeah, we should really get into this 20 minutes into recording.
We get the Nitro recap from last week, including the Tory stipulation, which I'm like, why did you need to throw that in there again? And then it also includes clips from Thunder,
Which are just gross.
which are just weird to me because I'm like, it looks like they're on like a Hollywood set, like of like a street, and it's like, okay, hostage negotiation. Give me the belt, I'll give you the
girl.
The girl. And then they fight in slow motion. Sting, in quotes, breaks a bat over Kevin Nash, and then Randy Savage gets the victim out of the trunk. But it's actually Tori Wilson who's like, hey.
Ha ha ha, you thought.
Oh, she says something dumb, too. I forget what it is.
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to the dialogue so much as like what the hell was happening.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Because also during that, Nash is on the phone with Randy Savage, and Nash is like getting a massage from...
I thought that was Tori.
I think it's meant to be vague of like, oh, no, George totally has been banging me and she's leaving you.
Well, that's supposed to be a message throughout this whole episode.
Yeah. So that'll continue tonight. We then get the Nitro opening, followed by the Nitro Girls, which leads to the opening pyro. And I'm like, okay, cool. We're getting the opening bit down.
Yeah, the rhythm.
And during the opening pyro is when they keep panning around the arena. And I'm like, guys, stop cutting to these shots. You're making it worse.
Yeah. There's one shot where they pan over the pyro, like kind of like parallel to the stage, and it's just showing just a giant empty section. It's horrible.
Commentary checks in, and as teased at the end of last episode, there will be a return tonight.
A really sad return.
Yeah, Bret Hart will be here, and he'll just kind of speak his mind.
Which is nice, but it's still just a real bummer.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more when we get to that segment, because I think both of us have a fair amount of feelings on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's go to our first match. We have two people who were included in our quiz earlier. Juventud Guerrera versus Chavo Guerrero, which I just called them Juvi and Chavo. I was not trying for the Guerrero thing.
Yeah. I did think that when they came out, the Guerrero versus Guerrera.
So Chavo slips on the ramp on the way out, but it kind of looked intentional, like he was mocking Juvi for slipping the other week.
But when Juvi comes down, he like kind of looks at the ramp like, you're not getting me this week, ramp.
Not today. So in retaliation, Juvi mocks Pepe.
Which I would like to do an in memoriam of Pepe real quick. While I was skimming through old Nitros trying to find, like, I had to verify the themes. And I don't know what stroke of luck found me, but when I was looking, I think I was looking for Norman Smiley. I stopped Peacock at the perfect moment of Chavo at the top of the ramp, arms outstretched with Pepe in one hand, and he's just so happy and living his best life. I'm like, oh, it's Pepe. I wanted to call you in, but I was like, this will be a spoiler. Oh, I miss Pepe.
So Hoovy goes for a 10-punch spot, but Chavo drops him throat first onto the ropes.
Throat first.
Hoovy then hits a missile drop kick and signals for the Hoovy driver, and Chavo counters and just bails to the outside. I think both of us thought, like, oh, this could be a quick match, okay.
I mean, it was just weird how quick he called for his finisher.
Hoovy misses a baseball slide, and Chavo gains control. Chavo then locks in the gory special and then drops Hoovy face first onto the mat. Chavo goes for a flying nothing into Hoovy's feet. I'm like, you're a cruiserweight. You should have moves.
Yeah, exactly. This was a disappointment for a cruiserweight match.
They trade powerbomb attempts, and I really thought Hoovy was going to do Billy Kidman's thing again.
No, Hoovy cannot jab at Pepe and steal Billy Kidman's spot in the same match. Absolutely not. Will not have it.
So on Hoovy's attempt, Chavo counters it into a real sloppy Hurricane Rana, and it just gets messy for about a minute and a half there. Like, I'm like, ooh, this just slow it back down, guys. Take a breather.
Yeah, reconnect, regroup.
Hoovy catches Chavo vaulting in the corner and hits a Hoovy driver. He signals for the 450 splash, but gets crotched up on the ropes. Hoovy then kicks out of a gourd buster, which causes Team Madness to come out and ruin the match.
Exactly.
Same thing as, I think it was last week or the week before.
Yep, we're getting back into, who needs a cruiserweight match? Let's just interfere. Getting back into that groove.
So they beat down the cruiserweights, and they call for the mic. Also, Sid is wearing the world title during this whole segment.
Is he?
Yeah.
I missed that he was wearing it.
Yeah.
I knew that the group had it. I didn't know that he was wearing it.
Yeah, because Nash also mentions it when he becomes part of the segment. This is just a complicated mess, which is a phrase I think you'll hear me say a lot during this episode.
Yeah.
So Sid shouts.
Excellent.
And he does shout that suffering builds character.
He says suffering builds character, and you have a lot of character to build.
He also says that Nash is messing with this man's mind. Excuse me. It was like
It would have been fine if you didn't correct yourself, man.
oh yeah, he just like
The fact that he said excuse me. Was
or like pardon me or something. It's just like oh,
you're ruining it.
So Kevin Nash then appears on like the television screens in the arena because you can actually see him like up in the rafters, but it doesn't actually cut to him on like our screens for a little while.
And the audio in the arena doesn't seem to pop in.
Yeah, and Nash is talking and Savage is just screaming at the camera going, "Where's George?
Where is she? Where's George? Give me George." I'm like, okay.
Nash offers Sid versus Nash for the title, and there's some awkward back and forth, and Nash is like, yeah, George is getting dressed, and she shows up in, I guess it's a Kevin Nash top, that's just sitting on her chest weird. It just looked like it was weirdly cut.
I think it was a men's shirt that was just like straight cut instead of like cutting it to adhere to the body. And she has large boobs, so she was probably also wearing a push-up bra. I mean, girls don't wear normal bras in WCW apparently. So she was probably already hiking him up with a shirt that doesn't really adhere to her body.
Yeah, it just looked like it was creating a weird optical illusion.
Yeah.
But I don't really know what the hell is going on with the rest of this segment. That's a match for later. And I guess it's implied that George has been sleeping with Kevin Nash.
Yeah, because he said something like, "Oh, George, she's changing."
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. She can just be changing into like ring gear or something. It doesn't have to be like she's naked.
I think what he said is she's getting dressed.
Okay, but that could also be construed
Yeah.
as like she's getting dressed to do something else. Like,
Yeah.
she could be getting out of her gym jams and into her regular people clothes. Like, I'm getting dressed.
So that'll be our main event for tonight. Which is I love Sid. I was not looking forward to that.
Really, you weren't?
No.
I was so excited for you. Oh.
I think I can explain why I wasn't excited for that in a preview of what's to come. I did do a bump count for that match.
Oh.
It's not high.
Well, yeah, no. Interesting. I'm interested to know the number.
Without spoiling the number, Randy Savage will come in to interfere and will take more bumps than both men combined. So we'll see all of them later. Actually, that's not true, not all of them, because we won't see the cruiserweights later. That's just them done.
They're done. That's all the cruiserweight we get tonight. Hope you enjoyed it.
Next up, we get a Mean Gene interview with Ric Flair and David Flair. And we get David coming out looking like a jackass.
David, when he came down the ramp for this segment, this Mean Gene interview, I have never wanted to punch somebody in the face more than I did that moment.
Yeah?
Yeah. He looked so punchable, and I really wanted to take the opportunity.
So what a roller coaster of emotion this must have been, because we go from that, and Emily, it's back.
It's back.
Oh, mean! Woo! My God! Gene!
We get a mean woo by God Gene.
I was so happy, but so sad, but so happy. It really was a roller coaster. We haven't gotten a mean woo by God Gene in so long.
I think like the last one we got might have been Hogan's.
I don't know. I
It's
cannot
been a while.
think of one. It's been months.
So Flair says he's going to make something happen. Okay.
Cool.
You're the president. You should do that. He then says that Big Papa Pump doesn't have time to be here. So he strips Steiner of the U.S. title and just gives it to David Flair.
Yeah, what?
His excuse is basically David won by DQ last week, so that's why he gets to be U.S. champion.
No. That's not how that works. Also, why are we just stripping Scott Steiner of this? I understand that he's injured, but like, this just seemed very abrupt.
In wrestling, you're supposed to defend the title once every 30 days.
Okay, then say that stipulation. Don't just be like, he doesn't have time to be here, so fuck him. Like,
Yeah.
it felt really abrupt and more of like a power move than like a play by the rules move.
Yeah, it definitely kind of rode that line. It didn't help it. They were trying to make Scott Steiner seem real cool with like, oh, he's just, he's out there banging whores.
No, he busted his knee, right?
I can't keep track of everybody's injuries in WCW. It's everyone's hurt.
Somebody's joint is out of whack. I don't know.
So yeah, David is now the U.S. champion.
I do love that Mean Gene pointed out the blatant nepotism.
Upon being given the title, David goes to give Rick a handshake, and Rick just misses it and turns around. It was so sad.
Sometimes I feel bad for David Flair. Most of the time I don't, though.
So Charles Robinson then brings out the belt and also brings out like 10 women.
This is essentially the Ho Train.
Yeah. Rick then tells the women to have at it with David, and then Rick goes, nah, never mind, I want to get onto this as well. And I'm like, that's just uncomfortable.
And he makes a comment about like, me and Dave, you and me, Dave, we're going to go with these ladies. I'm like, oh, I'm having sex with my dad in the room. That's weird.
To be fair, the way I kind of picture that going down is David just gets locked out of the room.
Yeah, he's going to get like, oh, go get us some ice, Dave. And then, yeah, just lock the door.
So Buff Bagwell comes out to interrupt. They are in Buff's hometown, and he gets a pretty good response, but not like a nuclear pop or anything.
Speaking of a nuclear pop, why were there balloons? Why did balloons drop?
Why did they drop during Buff's entrance?
Yeah.
Because the commentary was kind of saying that it's like, oh, it's, they had it arranged for, David being given the belt. But
Which
they
I
dropped
guess
him so
makes
late
sense.
that
Yeah.
it's like, oh.
Either they missed a cue or they hit a cue too early.
But
But they were just random balloons.
Emily, can you talk us through Buff's attire? Mainly his shirt.
Okay, so Buff is wearing a shirt that... Do you remember that one wrestler that I say has gas station t-shirts?
Mikey Whipwreck.
Mikey Whipwreck.
And-
Buff Bagwell.
Hold on, I just realized that'd be a fun game. You have to badly describe a wrestler in the way that you do, and I have to guess who you're talking about.
That's a good game. Buff Bagwell saw Mikey Whipwreck's wardrobe and was like, what if that dragon on top of a castle was me? So there is a like airbrushed painting of Buff Bagwell on the back of his own shirt where he is like spitting lightning and like floating in the clouds.
It's strange.
It's bizarre.
Buff then says he's out here for like the triple D's. And it's like, oh yeah, it's dumb, dumber, and dumbest. For those
You thought he was talking about boobs.
For those keeping score at home, dumb was Charles Robinson, dumber was David Flair, and dumbest was Ric Flair. So Buff then challenges David to a U.S. title match, and after some sloppy back and forth, Rick makes the match. Buff then says, play my music because I dance so much better when it plays, and they don't play
They
his
don't play
music.
his music. It's really awkward. He just walks away to silence.
Yeah, and then just a little bit more banter, and I just wrote, "What is this Nitro?"
This Nitro doesn't know what it is. But again, not hating it yet. It's chaotic, and you know I love a chaotic episode.
We go from that to a Kevin Nash hype package, and then somebody we haven't seen in like 3 months, it's Vampiro versus Rick Steiner for the TV title.
This was such a squash match.
Why is Vampiro getting a TV title shot?
Good
Who
question.
knows?
He has really stringy hair, though. I don't know what look he's going for. It's like almost like he's trying to dread his hair, but it's not good. Not a good look for him.
I think it's when Rick Steiner's coming out, they note, yeah, I guess whoever wins this will face Van Hammer at the pay-per-view. They call Van Hammer like a young up-and-comer. I looked, Van Hammer is 39 at this point.
I mean, you can be an up-and-comer and be 39. Like, that's fine, but you're not young.
Rick then grabs a mic, doesn't say much of anything, does his if you don't like me, bite me kind of thing. He works over Vampiro, hits a Steiner Bulldog, and then locks in a weird submission hold. But like both of us kind of couldn't find the pressure point on it.
Yeah, because he did the Steiner Bulldog, like you said, and then he, like, grabs his arm from behind, but nothing else on him, and, like, pulls his arm, but not in, like, a weird direction or at a weird angle.
Yeah, and I guess we should also note, it's like, it's also, we can't find the pressure point, and it's not aesthetically pleasing to make up for it.
No, that's true.
So it's like, okay.
What's the point of this?
Rick wins after Vampiro taps out.
I was right. It was a squash match.
Yeah. Vampiro had a really, like, nice match. I want to say it was against, like, Hoovy or something. And it just vanished, and he's back, and I know he'll stick around. But, yeah, this was just weird. I thought this was going to be a, decently length match, and it's like, nope.
Oh, no, this was, like, what, a minute and a half, maybe?
Maybe longer, but it might as well have been.
It was real quick.
So, yeah, you looking forward to Rick Steiner versus Van Hammer?
No. Sorry, no.
I was actually a little surprised you didn't give me Rick Steiner's theme as part of the quiz.
Well, I wanted to do Scott's, and then when I couldn't get Scott's, I just got really frustrated, and I was like, fuck it, cruiserweights.
Well, I think the fact that I've given Rick Steiner's theme a nickname probably does,
yeah, it would be
gives
too
away
much
that
of a
I know
giveaway.
it.
Yeah.
God. Next up, we go backstage
With our favorite gays. We love them.
What are you talking about?
We
They're
stand.
not gay.
Oh, you're right. I'm
They're
sorry.
totally not gay. What are you
They're not. There was a closet though.
doing? Spoilers. So Lenny and Lodi come into the room, and Lodi gives Lenny matching trunks to him, and they keep doing the like, WCW's not going to care when they find out. It's fine.
They said WCW is open-minded. I'm like, no, they're not.
So they walk off, and then you see where they walked out of, and it was the closet. Emily, do you get it?
Now explain it to me.
No.
They were saying things like, you know me so well. I know every inch of you. And like, you can read me like a book. I can read you page for page. It's so weird, especially because we know that they're not going to be gay in storyline.
It's just it's the false raunchiness of it, and just the lazy writing that I'm like, you know what? If you're going to be lazy, just be direct. All right. Any further guesses on what it is going to be? Because last week I guessed it's going to be that they're like Canadian or
We're
something.
Canadian. We're a tag team because they haven't actually wrestled as a tag team yet.
No.
What if there was a weird one that was like we're related? Like they wouldn't be the only ones in WCW that are. There's a couple of dumb things that it could be.
I was going to say, I don't know whether I would actually give this story kudos if they actually did say they were gay or not. Because
they don't deserve kudos.
Yeah, if they are gay, then it was just like, okay, so they're just, that's it.
So this came out. Cool. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't make sense for WCW being who they are. Kevin Nash thinks it's hilarious.
So let's just, okay. Well,
we've given that too much time.
I was going to say, and then Jesus, we have to move on to this. How do you go from that to this? What the fuck?
How did did they transition like this?
Because
This seems so unfair to Bret Hart.
yeah. So next up, Tony throws to a Bret Hart video package, which not to sound, I guess, mean or callous, but it feels like a tribute package to him.
It really does. It feels like he is the one that passed.
Yeah. It's very downtrodden, and it does make it sound like Bret might retire.
Yeah.
And this prompts Bret Hart to come out to the ring in just regular street clothes.
I mean, did you really expect him to have a match?
No. I mean, one, they didn't really advertise him, but two, they were just saying, like, it's going to be Bret. And
Yeah.
I think the fact that I kind of knew about this just because of the book we read, my expectations were a little bit different than, maybe the audience's.
Yeah.
But, yeah, this is just a strange segment of, it does not feel like Bret Hart was ready to be out here, in my opinion.
It really doesn't. I think he wanted to be ready. I will give him that credit. I think that, like, I understand. Okay. So what happens is Bret comes out to the ring and he talks about his brother. And he gives, like, his few words and, like, talks about how much wrestling has meant to his family. And eventually in this, he talks about how he's not sure what his path is in wrestling moving forward, which is absolutely fair.
Yeah, he also does note that he was told, like, I have all the time I need.
Yeah.
A couple notes here.
He says he has all the time he needs to talk and all the time he needs to come back.
He thanks wrestling fans all over the world for their sympathy. He talks about Owen and how loved he was if you knew him, and calls Owen his closest brother. And I'm just like, oh, God, Fred. Yeah, he notes that he thought he'd be ready to talk by now. He's like, I'm not entirely sure. And I'm like, it kind of...
It feels like you're not.
Yeah, it shows. It's like...
So I understand why Bret wanted to do this in front of a live crowd, because that's what he does. That's what he knows. He knows wrestling crowds. And that's where
Bischoff
he
asked
feels
him to
comfortable.
come back and do this for what it's worth.
I believe that. But I also believe that, like, the Hart Foundation, the Hart family, thrive in front of a crowd. So maybe that's where he felt comfortable. That's where he felt like he belonged when having these conversations. In front of a camera crew backstage might have felt wrong. However, I think it does take away from the severity of the situation when you have people, like, hooting and hollering every time you see, like, every time Bret, like, looks down, you have a crowd going, woo! Or there was one fucker in the audience when Bret was, like, kind of taking a moment to gather himself, and some guy in the audience goes, hurry up!
Oh, I didn't hear that.
You piece of shit. Get absolutely fucked. Anyway, it felt wrong. But,
Yeah.
I mean, he's a wrestler. Like, Owen was a wrestler. His whole family are wrestlers. They belong in the ring. So this also makes a lot of sense why he would do it in the ring. To me, it just feels wrong. But I'm not a wrestler.
Yeah, he notes that he's like, I'm not sure what's left for me in wrestling at this point.
Yeah.
And he talks about the idea of retirement. He, like, references John Elway and Wayne Gretzky. And it's like, yeah, they seem real happy now. And I noted, I'm like, it's kind of hard to tell what's a shoot, what's a work here. And it's because that this is basically a work shoot in the sense of these are all very much Bret's feelings, but WWE does want to kind of, like, hype up, like, oh, we don't know if he's going to come back, because if he does come back, they kind of want...
They want the hype.
Yeah.
But they also don't want to be that dick company that's like, you can't retire.
Yeah, because apparently there are still plans for him later in the year if he's ready to come back and do it.
Sure.
They're like, yeah, we want you to feud with, like, Hogan. It's like, okay. I don't know if that happens or not.
It's just a strange feeling. It got me. I thought this was all a shoot. I took him at his word. It came off very earnest. Like, I thought that he was truly like, I don't know if I'm going to retire. I might. I took that at face value of, I want to talk to the fans face to face and give you my transparent feelings.
Yeah, he takes some time. He's like, just in case I don't get another chance, I want to thank all the fans. And I want to thank all the wrestlers. Hope I wasn't too stiff.
Yeah, see, that's what got me. When he starts to get, like, words like that are very much business words, that's when I'm like, oh, he's being for real.
And he just ends it with, and that's about it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And he leaves. And it's just like, it's just straight. Not a bad segment, just...
It was strange. I think that it was WCW's way of, like, encouraging Bret to show his face in the public again.
Yeah.
This is a safe way for him to come back to the public eye. Granted, way too soon. This was only a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, a little over a month, but yeah.
Not long enough.
Yeah. So I imagine we will not see Bret Hart for a couple more months. I know he comes back during this year, but...
Honestly, I hope not. Not in a mean way. I hope we don't see Bret for a while.
But I am pretty sure he comes back as a face. Can you imagine if they brought him back and turned him heel? Which, oh god, I think he turns heel, but I think he comes back as a face, at least at first.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a weird one to move on from, and
yeah, so on either side of this segment are really weird segments that should not have been the flow in or the flow out from this.
Yeah, because they go from this to backstage. Eddie goes to WCW security, and it's like, oh, my wallet got stolen. I need you to round up all the masked wrestlers.
Yeah, that's kind of it. He's like, yeah, my wallet, all the money out of my wallet's gone. I need my money, man. It's a masked wrestler. How do you know that it was a masked wrestler? Did you see the man that stole your wallet? You didn't say anything to the man, and now you're like,
yeah,
what?
It's very flimsy logic here. So we'll get more of that later. Let's next go to the only match that was hyped up last week for this week's Nitro. It is The Cat with Sonny Ono versus Jerry Flynn with Jimmy Hart.
Isn't it sad that this was the only hyped match? And it's not even a wrestling match.
Yeah, it's a kickboxing.
It's a boxing match.
It's a kickboxing match, which they don't do a great job on explaining the rules of.
Well, no, they just assume you know the rules of boxing.
But this is kickboxing.
Is there a difference? I don't.
Yes, you can kick.
Can you not kick in boxing?
No.
No.
It's boxing.
I thought boxing you could kick.
No, you very much can't. It's only your hands.
Oh, well, that seems like a waste. I got these perfectly good legs. Why couldn't I kick you?
Oh my god. You know, we should just move on. I think the segment's peaked. So Jerry Flynn comes out wearing his boxing gloves already. They look very big on him, and I don't know why.
I think it's because he didn't put them on in the ring. Because, the Cat put his on in the ring, and they also looked pretty big. I think it's just because he walked down like a normal person with the gloves on. He looked like SpongeBob. Yeah,
so I wrote, this is going to be bad, isn't it?
I had higher hopes.
They have... So they do, I think, forget if it's 2 or 3 minute rounds. But however long it is, the crowd turns on this 90 seconds into the match.
Yeah, the boos are strong. Real quick.
Yeah, they give it 90 seconds and then just like, nope, we're done.
Nah, this ain't it, man.
They actually do have enough snug shots early on that I'm like, okay, like how thick are you actually laying this in? And then the kicks start and I'm like, yeah, that's kind of where...
That's kind of what my hope was. Like, both of these guys do have like a martial arts background, so I was hoping that it'd be like a valid, a real match, like a real kickboxing match, more like MMA type, but Yeah,
I think the most damning thing I can say about this is it feels like Brawl for All, but doesn't even have the intrigue of it's a shoot.
Brawl for All is still so fascinating to me.
During the second round, the Cat gets Jerry Flynn down to one knee, and then gets a good shot on him, with his fist, and it's like, nope, that's DQ.
Doesn't Jerry slip at some point too?
Maybe a little bit on one of the kicks. I don't know, but I was like, oh, that's a DQ? Oh, okay. So the Cat gets DQ'd, and the commentary doesn't really describe why it is. I didn't know it was going to be when it happened. I was like, it actually was a nice hit on him, and I'm like, oh, shit, you're going to win by knockout there. Like, oh, nope, never mind, DQ.
I don't think these are the kinds of matches that you win by knockout.
Yeah, maybe I just know more about boxing than kickboxing. I don't really know, but they then brawl and roll around on the ground, and then this was shit, and it ends awkwardly.
I didn't think it was shit. I like having something that's different to kind of break up the show. And I didn't hate this as much as other random weird matches have.
I mean, to be fair, if you had somebody come and bomb doing stand-up for 10 minutes, it's something different. Doesn't mean it's good.
No, I'm thinking of Butterball.
Butterbean, you mean?
Butterbean, yeah. When he comes in and in WWF,
the one time we saw him, he doesn't come in again for what it's worth.
That's different. It breaks it up, but it's fucking bad.
Ironically, that's
what I'm likening it to.
That's the end of Brawl for All. But
is that Brawl for All?
That's like a bonus Brawl for All because they had the person he kills in that is Bart Gunn, who won Brawl for All. And it's like, okay, here you go.
But no, that's what I liken it to because it's a boxing match in the middle of a wrestling match. So like it should be different and fun, but like Butterbean's not fun to watch.
But that was a shoot.
Okay, well I didn't know that when I was watching it.
Yeah. Yeah, which doesn't help because how do you tell the audience that this is a shoot and everything else is fake?
Right.
Which is also the issue of Brawl for All. So I guess this feud continues, and they don't mention that it'll be on the pay-per-view, but I guess it will be. I don't know.
Wait, this boxing match is going to be on the pay-per-view?
Well, I assume it'll be like a regular match.
I kind of assumed this was dead in the water. I thought this was it.
I mean, when you have a weird ending like that, it just seems weird to end a mini feud on that, so.
Well, it also ended with all of the audience booing.
Well, since when has that stopped anybody in wrestling?
I don't know. I don't think it's enough of a draw to be like, yeah, this is going to be a pay-per-view match. I don't think this is going to turn into anything.
The only reason I disagree is because there's like not enough advertised for the pay-per-view.
They did a couple more things.
They might just need to kill time. We'll see. But let's move on to our next match. It is Lodi with Lenny versus Van Hammer.
Did you know that these two only have one YouTube video with their joint theme song, and it is somebody recording their television?
So match starts, Van Hammer beats down Lodi, and I literally asked, are they trying to lose the crowd?
Well, yeah, because they haven't gotten, like, I think when we started this match, you were like, oh, I'm sure this will bring him back. Because that last match clearly lost them.
Yeah, so
this isn't going to get him back.
Let's just do a little recap on, the live crowd, what they've gotten. They've gotten, the Nitro Girls opening kind of pyro.
Woo titties.
Then they had a match that abruptly ended and then had an awkward back and forth promo with somebody who was backstage. Then they had David Flair being awarded the U.S. title, and I guess they got buff, so that's something.
Yeah.
Squash match.
Yeah.
Depressing Bret Hart segment. Bad kickboxing match. And then squash match.
Listen, I imagine the concession stands sales are through the roof. Beer sales couldn't have been higher.
We do get a nice Bret's Rope Beal from Van Hammer.
You actually have notes on this match?
Yeah, they try to do a spot where Lenny pulls down the ropes when Van Hammer runs into them, but they screw up the timing and it looks real bad. Lodi gets the advantage and actually hits a Hurricane Rana. And he tries for it again, but then gets dropped face first on the top rope. We then get a stalling superplex to Lenny with the ref distracted. Cobra clutch slam to Lodi, and Van Hammer wins.
So this was essentially a handicap match because Lenny was in this match a lot.
Yeah.
I did get really annoyed in this match with the DQ thing.
Oh.
So there's a point in this match, I don't even remember what moves are happening, whatever, but Lenny is thrown into the ring. He's kind of like unconscious on his back.
I think it was after the superplex.
Maybe. He's just laying on his back very openly in the middle of the ring. The ref, Nick Patrick, is on the rope, stares at Lenny, and is just like, yeah, all right.
I think at a certain point, I chalked that up to Nick Patrick knows, like, okay, this match is about to be over.
Yeah.
Just look, if I make it a DQ, we might have to do this match again. just pin him, okay?
But like, I also know that you've told me there is a rule that's like, if the ref does not see physical interference, like if the ref does not see someone getting into the ring and hitting the opponent, then it is not a DQ. You've told me that before.
Yeah.
And vice versa. If the opposer does not hit the interferer, I don't know, then it's not a DQ. But when he's unconscious in the middle of the ring, you've got to do, if he's unconscious, then he got hit, and then it's a DQ. There has to be an if-then there.
But again, Van Hammer can technically hit Lenny and not cause a DQ.
I thought he could. I thought if anybody interfered or like touched the guy that interfered, then it was a DQ.
It's if the interfering person hits one of the competitors. The competitors can hit the other person without it being a DQ. You see that a lot with like knocking people off the apron and then the other person hits their finisher.
But I don't think of that as interference.
Well, they were coming down to interfere. They just stopped the interference. I mean,
yeah, they didn't get into the ring.
Yeah, but they're on the apron.
They're not in the ring ropes though. So I think that's like the fine line. If you can hit him off the apron, but they're not interfering because they are not in the ring.
You are picking a very arbitrary difference.
I know, but I just need to figure out the rules.
So if I hit,
I thought they were rules, Nick.
So if I hit 6 power bombs on the outside, that's fine because it wasn't in the ring.
Yeah, exactly. It's not in the ring. If it is a,
if the person interfered,
if it is a pinfall in ring match, if you have to get the pin in the ring and it's not a no DQ match or whatever. If you're interfering and someone hits you on the outside, that's on the outside. It's not interference. To me. I don't know.
That's not how wrestling works.
Well, I've seen it work like that. So, like... Yeah. But then the excuse is always, the ref is distracted. Like...
Yeah, so we'll put a bow on it with this. Most of the time, if... You know, a lot of times, like if there's a manager and it's like, oh, this person got pulled to the outside and... all of a sudden they're laid out, or someone is like, left laying in the ring who shouldn't be in there. Yeah. A lot of times when they come to, or when the referee notices this, that person will be ejected from ringside. It's like, look, I didn't actually see anything, but I'm pretty sure you're up to something, so why don't you get the fuck out of here?
Ejected from ringside does not happen as often as I feel like it should.
No, I agree with you there. Let's move on. Backstage, WWE security guards gather all the masked wrestlers. And so that storyline's progressing. We'll finish that up later.
Yeah, this is a weird, like, segmented segment. I don't know how else to say that. It's really broken up.
Then get a Mean Gene interview with Roddy Piper in the ring, and Piper takes forever to come out. I was like expecting a swerve.
Yeah, he just like let his entire theme play.
Piper gets fired up and says he doesn't take money for throwing fights. He gets money for throwing punches.
So I loved how he started this segment because Roddy Piper comes down without the hierarchy and introduces himself, like what he's about, what he stands for. Like, I can't remember the exact verbiage, but his introduction.
It's like, in case you're new to the show, here's who I am.
Yeah, and I love that. That kind of brings a little bit more magic to, like, I am a character and this is my character. It brings it back to what he was originally. I don't know. I loved it. I thought it was great. It really, like, separated him from Ric Flair. And I need him to be separated from Ric Flair right now.
Yeah, he also does have the ability to, even when he screws up in a promo, it's like he can make it flow into something. Because he accidentally says crap is rap. And he's like, and rap is crap. And it's like, he's just riffing, it feels like. Where it's like, okay.
Great. He's great. But you don't get this greatness when he's with Ric Flair. And you know why? Ric Flair needs to get the last word every goddamn time he speaks. So he talks over Roddy Piper. And it's annoying as hell.
I think they're both trying to one-up each other, I think is also what it is.
That is also true.
So Piper calls out Sting to answer some questions. And he's like, all right, are you fucking with Team Madness or what?
He's like, I don't know Sting. I don't know him from Adam.
So
I love it. I love him so much. This is such a good segment.
So Sting comes out, except it's very clearly not saying... You were saying it was a woman.
It looked like a woman. Honestly, it looked like Rosie O'Donnell.
So, yeah, somebody comes out wearing a Sting mask, a wig, and a Sting t-shirt and a trench coat. And the commentary even notes that it's like, yeah, it's definitely not Sting.
Yeah, that's
like,
not Sting.
It's like, it's like Sting lost about 6 inches of height there.
Yeah.
So Piper asks Sting questions, and Sting just, like, shakes his head no.
Does not speak.
Then Piper tells him to unmask, which should also be the clue that it's not Sting, because...
I pointed that out. Sting doesn't wear a mask. Sting paints his face.
Which is not the first time we've noted this on the podcast. For anybody who remembers, this triggered a memory of they were advertising a VHS tape of Sting unmasked, and I'm like,
I don't remember this at all.
It's one of the early episodes of the podcast.
When I didn't know who Sting was and you were making references that went entirely over my head and I had to pretend that I knew what you were talking about.
yeah, probably. So Piper then attacks him and unmasks him, and we don't see the person's face.
We don't get to see the face. We have no idea who this was, like, at all. We don't even know if it's, like, a man or a woman. It's a man, but, like, we don't know. That's the most frustrating part of the segment to me. Like, I loved this segment. I thought it was fantastic. But I wish I got a reveal.
Piper then calls out Buff Bagwell and challenges him to a match at the pay-per-view in a boxing match.
Why are we boxing?
To which... This literally relates to like 12 different things. Did you learn nothing?
Were you watching what just happened? like a minute ago.
Hey, Icarus, can I borrow those wings? I'm trying to fly close to the sun.
Why are we boxing?
By the way,
what's this new interest in boxing?
this isn't even noting the several boxing matches that Roddy Piper has done on pay-per-view, all of which are pretty much terrible.
Why are we here? Why are we doing this?
So, this match is suddenly made, and all of a sudden, J.J. Dillon comes out with some random old man.
Glasses and all.
He's Judge Mills Lane. I'm like, man, they had him ready.
I totally botched his name in my notes. Mills Lane is his name?
That's what I heard. What did you hear?
Billsley. Billsley, I heard.
I'm also checking, because he seems to be somebody who...
I think he's like a TV judge.
I think he's a TV judge, and also he was a former professional boxer and boxing referee.
Ah, there you go. That makes sense.
So I think they got him, and then they're like, okay, cool, boxing match.
You were right. Judge Mills Lane. Wow. Where did I get Billsley?
I don't know. Because
Sounded like
they only say it once, I want to say.
And we were going through it pretty quick.
So, yeah, he's a seasoned boxing judge, and... Is he going to be a judge or the ref or?
You're asking so many questions that I don't even think they have the answers.
But also, like, Roddy Piper announced this match 45 seconds before J.J. Dillon came out with him, and is like, "Good news, we got him." It's like,
was he just like hanging out backstage, like, "Oh yeah, this thing just got announced. Shit, man, Mills, let's go. I got a gig for you right now."
They actually fly him in every week. They just had never had a use for him.
Aw, he's just like friend of the show.
So, I just wrote in all caps, what is happening again? So you overall enjoyed this segment, you're saying?
I really did. I loved it. I loved the chaos of it. I didn't know where it was going to go next, and I loved it.
The chaos is it's too much chaos.
No, I love it.
It's too much chaos.
Never too much chaos.
Oh, God. After that, we get our next match. It's Fit Finlay and William Regal with Dave Taylor versus Ray and Konnan with the No Limit Soldiers.
Hell yeah.
Finlay and Regal come out to... I just realized I called him and I wrote William Regal. It's Steve Regal.
It is Steve Regal. Fuck, you're right.
They come out to Finlay's theme, and Ray and Konnan come out to a theme, and I thought, is this a new theme? I don't know anymore.
It's not. So here's the thing. When I was going through all of the themes, I clicked about 7 different Konnan themes, and they're all the same fucking song, Nick.
Okay.
It's all the same song. It's the same theme.
I also wrote, oh yeah, Ray is Cruiserweight Champion, because it comes out wearing the belt.
Oh, yeah.
We get the Spanglish promo, including mentions of strawberries and For Life. It's like, you're not feuding with them anymore, man.
But he also says something about the No Limit Soldier, so he is adding new material.
Ray grabs the mic and gives a shout out to his boy Dominic.
Which, isn't that a breach of contract?
Shut the fuck up.
You can't shout out WWE stars on WCW.
Put that boy on a pole right now.
Oh yeah, that's not even his boy. That's Eddie Guerrero's boy.
He does end the promo with a hootie hoo.
Hootie hoo! It's like his hootie hoos just get a little more desperate every week too. I love it.
So the match starts and the heels work over Ray with big power moves and double team submissions that look pretty sore.
They really do.
Regal like winds up to flex the guns, and I'm like, oh, you treasure.
Regal is an absolute gem of a man, and I don't think we ever fully appreciated how wonderful he is.
Konnan tags in, cleans house, get a Bronco Buster from Ray, and then the West Texas Rednecks come in, and it's DQ.
Whoa.
So the West Texas Rednecks and the heels beat down the No Limit Soldiers, and that's just it. The segment just kind of like ends abruptly, like, oh, okay.
Yeah, just in case you had hoped that the Rap is Craps would not be part of this episode. No, they're here.
I don't think I've asked thoughts on the match or thoughts on the segment for any of these.
You have not, because I think I've told you my thoughts on everything.
Well,
I think I'm doing it unprompted.
It's not even worth the thoughts.
Yeah,
it's just...
but if I have thoughts, I tell them. Yeah, it doesn't need to be prompted always.
Again, are they trying to kill this crowd?
They're doing a great job.
Well, if they're not dead yet, we get David Flair's match up next. David Flair with Ric Flair, Asia, and Arn versus Buff Bagwell for the U.S. title. I was convinced they were going to put the title on Buff here. I thought it would have been
Really?
I was telling you, I'm like...
No.
It would have made a lot of sense for them to put the title on Buff here.
It would have made sense.
Would
that
have been
would
a nice
have
moment
meant
for him.
putting over Buff over David. No, they're not going to do that. Coming down to the ring, though, David looked like a pouty, rich 5-year-old that was entered into a beauty pageant against his will, but like kind of liked the attention that he was getting.
Well, he's also wearing Rick's robe.
Yeah.
It's the ho-oh robe.
Yeah, it's the ho-oh robe. But he has that look on his face. It's like, I don't want to be here, but like, keep telling me that I'm pretty. Very toddlers and tiaras.
As much as I thought Buff was going to win, I did right. I've never rooted for a non-finish so much before.
You wanted this to be a non-finish? My God.
I didn't want either of these men to actually win.
We've already had, 3 non-finishes in this episode?
Well, I wrote it. I'm like, who do I root for? Like, me personally. Because I'm like, I don't want to root for Buff. I don't want to root for fucking David Flair.
Nick, haven't you given your MVP to Buff at this point?
No.
No? Never?
Never.
I thought you had.
No.
I thought you, turned the tables on us.
No. There may come a day. It's not this day.
I've given mine to Buff before.
I think I'm more likely to give it to Judy Bagwell whenever she gets on that forklift rather than Buff.
Do you think she took the same certification class that you did?
She wouldn't have had to because she was not driving it. She was just perched upon it.
Fair.
I know you haven't seen it, but that is what...
I keep asking questions thinking I'm going to get more clues, and I just have more questions.
Match starts. Buff laughs at David and then flexes. Buff beats down David and taunts Rick. David hits a low blow, but Charles Robinson's the ref. And I'm like, okay, well... I literally had to ask him, like, who is... Okay, it's him.
Yeah, you'd be like, oh, that's a DQ. And I'm like, Nick, look at the ref.
We, very shortly thereafter get a blockbuster to David, but Robinson's shoulder suddenly locks up after a 2 count.
Which I did love.
He can't count the pin.
I loved that sell, too. 1, 2, I tweaked something there. I can't do it.
So Buff then goes for a figure 4, but Rick and Arn then come interfere. And in a weird spot, when Rick goes to grab Buff, Buff gets Rick in a inside cradle pin position. It's like, that's not a move to knock someone out, right?
That's not a move, period.
No, it's a move, or it's... I don't know how to describe it. It is a wrestling move, but it's not like a slam or anything.
It's not going to knock him out.
It's not a damaging move. It is a status condition. It's like when you don't know how to battle in your first Pokemon battle, and I'm using Growl. Why isn't it doing damage? It's just lowering.
It's just lowering his defense stats.
No, lowering his attack stat.
Sorry.
Leer lowers the defense
Leer. Nick's playing the new Pokemon game.
Pretty good so far.
I haven't gotten to play it because he only bought 1 copy this time instead of 2.
You also got home later and then took an hour to do the theme song game.
It's not my fault. It took longer to close today.
So the match is still going because Dean Malenko comes out to help, and he slams... I forget if it's him or Buff who scoop slams Asia, and her legs get slammed onto David Flair. It's like, ooh.
I can't remember who it is either, but that just looks
Buff.
So sore.
It is Buff because Roddy Piper then comes in and knocks out Buff with the brass knucks thing, and David Flair crawls over and gets the win.
Yes.
And I'm just wrestling isn't that hard. Why are we complicating this so much? Booking wrestling is not that hard.
You're right. You do it pretty well on a fairly weekly basis. Not in a professional sense, but when we're watching, you're like, oh, this is going to happen. Or this should happen against this person. And then it does. You're not getting paid to book, but you're doing it better than the people that are.
I know you're the one in the armchair, but I feel like I really should be. So let's go to the Nitro girls. Then we get the finale. We go backstage. The masked wrestlers line up in a police lineup.
Oh, this is the best.
And Eddie demands that all the wrestlers take off their masks to ID who took his wallet. And then we very drastically cut to behind each of the wrestlers.
Which, good. We're not going to unmask all of these wrestlers.
Can you imagine?
Yes, because I can. I can imagine.
I wonder how many of these guys actually showed their face to Eddie and security.
I don't know.
Or do they just kind of give their...
I feel like a few of them actually did. But I feel like a lot of them also probably had another mask or something underneath. I think that there's a trust there.
So Eddie pretends that basically all of them are hideous when they unmask. Oh my God.
No, he only does it for the first 2.
He does it for the last 1 or 2 as well. Or he laughs at them or something. Because Psychosis unmasked, and it's hey, you're a good-looking guy. Why are you wearing a mask?
I wear a mask, Holmes.
And then Cheetah Kid unmasks.
Cheetah Kid!
And he just goes, Prince Iakea?
Which I lost my shit. He's like, Prince Iakea, I haven't seen you in a minute, man. Where you been?
Didn't he wrestle in the past month on Nitro?
He sure did. He was at the Superdome.
So, yeah, then Eddie can't ID who it was, and that's just the end of this. I think if they had given this to any...
finalized. Oh,
yeah,
my God.
I think if they had given this to anybody besides Eddie, it would have been, just death. It wasn't that good as it was, but he's entertaining enough to where...
Yes, Eddie saved this in the end.
Although
the first two segments leading up to this bit, awful. So boring. So bad. Why were they even featured? But this lineup was funny.
Although I'm realizing now, he came back incredibly grumpy the past 2 weeks, and here it's like...
I don't think he knows what he wants to be.
I don't know how much of it is him versus writing and booking.
Fair. Yeah, I don't know. Because you're right. Because he came back really solemn when he was on commentary, and then he had that match with Hoovy where he was really angry, and then he's just he beat up somebody else who did he beat up? That was just I'm too good for this match.
It was Lenny and Lodi.
Lenny and Lodi, yeah, he just had a squash match with them. Yeah, he's confused. We're all a little confused. It's okay.
So we go back to the arena and commentary chats, and all of a sudden there's interference in the feed. It's like, oh, that's weird. It's which is clearly part of the show because
they're not gonna acknowledge interference if it's just over the TV station. They're not gonna know it.
Or they won't do it in the commentary voice. They're like,
exactly. Fan. What's happening? This is weird.
So the interference is a backstage hack promo. And he talks about growing up and all he knows how to do is fight.
I was born fighting. I came out of the womb fighting.
Yeah, and he's like, I wanted to fight and WWE was stupid enough to give me a job. Or was stupid enough to pay me to fight kind of thing. And so he challenges every tough man on this planet to a junkyard match at Bash at the Beach. He does note that Raven is not available for this, which I think is what prompted me to realize, oh.
Oh, no, I thought he said he was just living life down in Florida. I didn't think of that as anything.
Or he's licking his wounds.
Licking his wounds, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But
see, I didn't see that as a rib so much. I just kind of saw that as
Oh, I didn't think it was a rib. I was just saying, I think it's literally Raven is currently hurt. I think almost had to retire around this time. And I just looked up when he was, I'm like, do we see him again? It's kinda. But I actually really enjoyed this hack promo.
It was different. I liked the different angle on it, too.
We were talking earlier about people getting their characters across.
Yes.
This was a very clear mission statement about I am born to fight and that's all I want to do.
I am hack. I am hardcore. This is who I am. It is reinstating who the characters are, and I love it. I need that.
Can I ruin this for you a little bit?
No.
So you know how we're reestablishing who Hack is?
Yeah.
This Sunday is Hack's last match.
Motherfucker. Seriously?
Yep.
Does he also go back to the ECW?
Yep.
Good for him. But he's better there.
And
is Roddy Piper about to leave?
No. I don't think so. I don't know when Roddy Piper leaves the more I think about it. But I will give you this little tease for that match at Bash at the Beach. Apparently all the wrestlers were saying hey, let's do this in a bunch of pre-tapes so we can do it safe. WCW was like, nah.
Oh.
So I think a bunch of people get hurt doing that match.
Oh no. Why am I not surprised? Nothing surprises me anymore.
So let's keep rolling. We get the Bash at the Beach countdown ad again.
5, 4, 3, 5, 4, 7, 6, 5, 8, 5, 7.
And then we get the live performance of Rap is Crap.
Oh my God.
And live is relative.
Yes.
So, you know what? Why don't you just open with that?
My only note for this is just, anyway. That's it. I was let's just move on. So, I don't know how many of our listeners play musical instruments, maybe even a guitar here and there. Whenever you're playing an instrument, it requires some level of hand-eye or breath coordination. Namely, you have to move your hand when you're playing an instrument. 9 times out of 10, you need to move your hand. I can't think of singing. I can't think of an instrument that you can play that you don't have to move your freaking hand. All of these guys were on stage playing guitars, first of all. They were all playing guitars.
No, one of them was playing drums.
Okay, so 3 guitars and 1 drum. None of the guitar players moved their hand. Not once. Second gripe. If you listen to the song I Hate Rap, there is a pretty strong violin line. Fiddle line, if you will.
I think this is where your strongest obsession was.
No one was playing the violin! I'm sorry. Or the banjo, for that matter. No one was playing the banjo line.
Or the
mandolin line. There was a fucking washboard.
That's textbook pandering.
There was a washboard. No, there wasn't.
And it's not like any of these guys are rips. You can't even like do the abs thing.
I was getting so annoyed. But also, it's like, what do you expect?
I do think the one main mic was hot because they do come in for the harmonies and it does sound like
true. At the end, they are actually singing. However, leading up to that, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was.
Because the thing is, like with live music, if it sounds exactly like what you've heard before, there's no way that it's real. It sounded exactly like the recording.
The only 2 notes I'll have on that is one, I doubt they put a lot of effort into mixing this all that well, so it might just be the raw take of Kurt Hennig.
I mean, maybe.
In the actual song. And 2, considering Kurt Hennig's not a singer, he literally just might have like one mode and it just hits that. It's like
maybe.
It's like how sometimes bad actors are actually the best at ADR because they just only have one delivery. So it's like, okay, it's easy to match back up.
I guess that's fair. I mean, you might be right.
I did note that Kurt like pulls the crowd and listen, it's mixed, but there's a lot of positive, pops for this.
Out in the stadium, you can't tell that they're not moving their hands. You can't tell that one of them's not playing the banjo.
I was saying beforehand, just like him pulling the crowd of like, who thinks rap is crap? And it's like, yeah.
Oh, polling. I thought you were saying pulling, not polling.
Oh, polling. So, yeah, but they perform and that's pretty much it.
Perform is putting it strongly.
Like nothing else happens on this. Like Ray and Conan don't come out.
I was so upset. Yeah. I'm sorry. Musical performances in wrestling really just like heat me.
We then get a Team Madness hype package, and I think this is where I was like, okay, I'm like, I don't know how much I have left.
Yeah.
And luckily, the next match, people came out, and I was like, okay, I'm on board, because it's the Jersey Triad versus 3/4 of the Radicals.
Yeah.
It's Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko, and Perry Saturn. I think even the Jersey Triad came out, and I'm like, I can't do this right now. And then the Radicals came out. And I'm like, okay, maybe I can.
Maybe I can.
Because also, this is just a 6-man tag. It's not the weird pseudo handicap match.
Right.
And the Radicals come out to some crap music. I think it's Perry Saturn's theme. At this point, I don't know.
It's not the Siren theme.
Early on, Benoit hits triple Germans, which leads to a commercial.
Oh, I love the triple German move.
Back from commercial, the Triad work over Saturn. Benoit tags in and chops Bam Bam Bigelow, who's wearing a shirt. And I was like, you smart bastard.
You learned motherfucker.
Benoit goes for a diving headbutt, but DDP crotches him on the top rope. Canyon hits a snap suplex followed by a vaulting elbow drop onto Benoit. And we get some Goldberg chants all of a sudden. And I'm like, in all of the matches tonight, this is the one you're going to shit on?
Yeah, I don't get that. This was great. This was so fun. This was cool.
We get a hot tag back to Saturn, who suplexes Canyon and cleans house and hits a Northern Lights suplex. Everything is a mess for a minute, and then Dean counters a tombstone into one of his own. Bam Bam Bigelow goes for a diving headbutt, but misses. Saturn then hits a frog splash, and then we get a diving headbutt from Chris Benoit, who gets the win.
So cool.
Yeah, this was a pretty quick match. Match of the night, but that's a low bar.
Yes.
And actually got a clean finish. You put over the challengers going into the pay-per-view. So it's like, okay, it makes you think they're going to win the titles.
And you very nearly formed the Radicals.
Again, I don't know if they...
I know they're not a WCW.
Well, not the Radicals, but I don't know how much any of them stay teamed up because clearly they're all aligned.
Yeah.
But...
Well, minus Eddie.
Yeah. So... This is where we missed something on the network. because Megadeth performs.
Megadeth.
They perform a song from the movie Universal Soldier.
I love that movie.
Which one of the people from the movie comes out afterward because it is the return of Goldberg.
So you told me that this was going to happen. Or you told me that like something like this was going to happen. So when the Goldberg chant started, I was like, was that the cut segment? Did we see Goldberg?
No, it's here.
Yeah. Wild. It was a terrible performance. Let me just throw that out there.
Oh, yeah.
Again, terrible performance. But the ending also did not feel earned of Goldberg coming out. It felt really random.
Well, also, I was reading something. It's pointed out that there's probably a lot of people who didn't see Goldberg return because they went, oh, Megadeth's performing, and changed
Turn
the
it
channel.
off. Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah.
Because who cares about Megadeth? What's their biggest hit? Check out their Spotify.
Megadeth's biggest song is called Symphony of Destruction, which has 177 million streams. Yeah.
All right, listeners, we can beat that.
So, yeah, Goldberg's back. I doubt he'll be at Bash of the Beach, but you never know. It's not like they set him up for anything, but...
We'll see. I don't have high hopes.
I mean, honestly, just have like Ernest Miller come out. Hold on, actually, he's in a segment. Hold on. Who? I don't really know who you have, but just have somebody come out, talk shit to the crowd, and have Goldberg come out and kill him in a match.
Ernest has been doing a good job of talking shit.
But let's go to the main event, and it's Michael Buffer time.
Woo!
For Sid Vicious versus Kevin Nash for the WCW title. Sid comes out to no music again, but is still wearing the title. And I have basically no notes for this match other than, okay, how many bumps before the non-finish?
Okay, I'm going to say 2.
So the real number is 3, but there's an asterisk on that.
So I was going to guess 3, but then you said it was low. Okay.
Randy Savage is one of the bumps.
Yeah.
And one of them is off a big boot, so it's just kind of falling. It's not
really
move.
a bump.
Yeah, other than that, there is one side slam to Sid.
So it's really like 2.5 bumps.
I'd call it 1. Granted, this only goes 4 minutes, but before the match, Nash tells Savage and the Broads to get out of here.
The Broads.
If Savage wants to see George again. I'm like, Jesus. During the actual match, we get big Goldberg chants. And I'm like, okay, that's
this
fair.
is valid, yeah.
Savage interferes, but the ref is fine with it, I guess. Savage pulls the ref in the way, and he gets hit and goes down. Sting then comes out.
Quote, unquote.
This one at least looks more passable.
It does. Doesn't look like Rosie O'Donnell. I'll give him that.
And attacks Nash with Sid and Savage. Then the real Sting comes out, fights off all 3 men. Nash doesn't realize that it's a different Sting, so he powerbombs Sting, because of course he does. Because it's the most obvious thing you could do.
Yeah.
Nash then grabs a mic and heads towards the back. He says, what's left of George is in the dressing room.
Which scared me, because I'm like, did you just go all axe murderer on George? Are we going to find her fingers?
Then everyone heads backstage real slowly.
Yeah.
It holds for a while. And apparently it held for a while because Nitro will go off the air about 3 minutes early.
Really?
Yep.
Why?
They just didn't have enough stuff. And so Randy Savage goes backstage. And for those Botchamania fans, this is the episode for the original Send for the Man clip. I think I realized why he stopped using it. I forget if Matthews actually said he stopped using it for this reason, but I have a feeling if he hasn't said it, this might be why. Savage walks in and kind of flips a table, which makes Tori Wilson corpse, who is just kind of standing there talking with Gorgeous George, and Savage who sees Tori Wilson and slaps her.
Ugh. See, I didn't see the slap.
But he then kind of almost rips George's shirt and throws her around a corner and kind of off screen kicks her, and it's it's just uncomfortable.
That's what really confused me, because up to this point in the episode, I thought that Randy Savage had actual concern about where George was. Is she hurt? Is she is she okay? I thought that he worried about her, but then after seeing this and he's just throwing her around and ripping her shirt off, I'm like, oh, you're just abusive. You're just controlling.
Yeah.
It really put a bad taste.
Yeah,
in my
I
mouth.
really went from it's send for the man thing to
Oh.
like, oh, okay.
And you told me, like, oh yeah, Tori corpsed there. I thought she was in character. Because she's been hanging out with Kevin Nash, who is inherently smarmy and just kind of, like, laughs everything off. So I thought that she was doing that when he flipped the table. Like, oh, wow, you're really going to flip a table?
She also keeps laughing after she gets slapped. I think it's just out of shock of just, like...
I didn't see the slap. I saw him do, like, a got your nose sort of thing on her.
slaps
But,
her.
okay. I'll take your word for it.
I mean, it's a it's not like a full wind-up, but it's still,
It's enough. It gets the point across. It's not cool. It's really uncomfy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a mix of, I think, if it was just the Tory stuff, I think the segment, would have been able to live on. But yeah, the George stuff of just like
also, like,
I'm just going to go around this corner and, beat the shit out of my girlfriend is kind of the sentiment.
The line going off the air is George going like, why are you doing this?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, what's happening?
I don't know.
What the fuck? What am I watching? What am I about to witness? It's fucked up. I don't even know. I have nothing else to say about it.
Yeah.
Like, it was just really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're ever going to get any kind of, we're not going to get any talks of this next week. Like, they're not going to talk about this segment at Bash of the Beach.
No. Yeah, so a bad Nitro and with a really sour taste in your mouth at the end of it.
The ending really kills this episode for me. Like, I was enjoying the episode, but this last match really does kill it.
Honestly, there's very little, in my opinion, on this Nitro worth watching.
Fair. I can't think of anything I'd want to go back and rewatch.
Yeah, I mean, the Jersey Triad Radicals match was pretty good.
But I think they're going to do it again, and they'll do it better.
Would you recommend people watch the Bret Hart segment? Not in a, I wouldn't say in a quality sense, but in a, like,
meaningfulness
or like
sense?
just like historical document kind of sense.
Kind of no, because I also think that there are better showings of that. I think that if you want to watch Bret Hart talk about Owen, watch his documentary.
Yeah.
There are other places that you can find Bret Hart talking about his brother and his love for his brother that are not this, and it'll be more meaningful.
Yeah, they actually do include bits of the article he wrote for the Calgary Sun as part of his package, which...
I'd say read that article.
Yeah, it just broke our heart.
Oh my God.
I don't even know if I can read the whole article.
No.
The little bit they included broke my heart, but...
Oh my God, yeah. Well, we're really ending this episode on a high note.
Yeah, I will give you credit. We were going to do the music game at the very end, and I'm really glad we did it at the beginning because I don't really know how to move into
I'm not in the mood.
best bit and MVP, but let's just wind this down. Emily, what's your best bit?
So I gave it to the Roddy Piper segment because of the character building and like bringing it back to kind of classic wrestling characters. I loved it. I want more of that. That was my best bit.
I gave mine to the Hack promo.
Okay.
I thought it was very good. It's unfortunate that he won't be here next week. It sounds like, but yeah, I thought it was a solid setup for the match and character building for him.
Yeah, I think it honestly good for him and good for Raven for moving back to ECW. That's where they belong.
Emily, who's your MVP?
Eddie.
Yeah.
He made me laugh.
Fair.
There wasn't much. Like I was hard pressed finding an MVP in this episode.
Yeah, I debated giving mine to Hack, but I didn't want to double down because it was a good promo, but it wasn't. And I'm like, is it that good? So I gave mine to Bret Hart just for going out there and trying.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, it's just like, you know what? I appreciate, you coming out and speaking your mind.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
It was very visibly not easy for you.
Yes.
But hopefully the next episode will be a little easier for us.
Oh my God. Bash at the Beach!
It's Bash at the Beach!
Woo!
1999.
We can pretend that we're at the beach while it'll be fucking February and snowing here probably.
Yeah.
When we record it.
We'll wear some Hawaiian shirts. I have an Orioles Hawaiian shirt.
That's true, you do.
Where you can be a bikini-clad babe.
I don't want to pull bikini out. I've got my winter body right now. I don't want to do that.
Emily, it's an audio podcast. The listeners won't know.
I'm going to be in the skimpiest bikini. Well, that was an episode.
Yeah, any closing thoughts?
Nope.
You can listen to the other episodes. I'd say listen to the other ones. Don't re-listen to this one.
No.
on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, and Stitcher. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Butts in the Pod, and we are the Butts in the Seats podcast on Facebook.
Correct. We're getting better about being more responsive on Twitter. We've gotten a couple people reaching out on Instagram that I have not been very good about responding.
Yeah, I don't even have
I see
access to
them.
that. That one's all you.
Yeah, Instagram's on me, baby.
Remember how you said this episode was pretty good? Do you stand by that?
I don't want to die.
Well, there's that.
That's the bar.
Well, see you at Bash at the Beach, I guess.
Wow, Nick wants to like just bury his head in the sand and just.
No, that's it.
regret.
I'm done. I'll see you at Bash at the Beach.